Warning, the following podcast has extremely high levels of kennybolin. Studies have shown that excessive exposure to kennybolin may have damaging effects to your physical and mental well-being. Viewer discretion is advised. No, seriously, we mean it. There will be naughty words, lots of them, probably. Now you've been warned. This warning sponsored by the Story Time with Dutch Mantel.
Opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or messages posted in chat are strictly their own personal views and do not reflect the views of Bolin Services, Inc., a 501c3 nonprofit organization, nor does it reflect the views of the sponsors of this program. Political commentary, if any, are strictly personal opinions and should not be construed as endorsements of or opposition to any political party, candidate, or voter initiative by Bolin Services, Inc. This audio-visual presentation is copyrighted by Kenneth W. Bolin. No rebroadcast, retransmission, simulcast, or other distribution of this video or the audio associated with it is permitted without the express written permission of Kenneth W. Bolin. All original content on this presentation is owned in full and solely by Kenneth W. Bolin.
Well, there we go. That is the first time that we have rolled that clip. Well, the Mr. Cena one we've rolled many times, but this is the first time that we've rolled the opinions of this show are not necessarily those of anyone else affiliated with the show or the sponsors of the show or any of the fans or whatever. They're just opinions, unless I say they're facts, and that is a fact. The fact is that Saturday Night Main Event had a hot finish tonight. Pretty damn hot finish. I think I'll be here by myself tonight. I have not heard anything from Jason, but Jason will be here Thursday for sure to participate in the Jaden Drago episode. He will be my guest on the show, and turns out he trained Jason, which I didn't know, and I don't. It's been apparently 11, 12 years ago, and Jaden wasn't horribly remembering of it himself, but he did know his name, but forgot that he was the one that trained him, or maybe he was in on it, or what have you. Donald Flowers in the house. Billy, you haven't scraped up $3 since Thursday. What am I going to do with you, Billy? You better not be talking that NASCAR shit in here tonight about hanging black race car drivers. We can't have any of that talk tonight. You got to behave yourself. People were writing me, said that there was an FBI investigation of that man when they threatened to hang him, the black NASCAR race car driver named Bubba, of all things. So, but no, Saturday night's main event wasn't too bad, but definitely a definite hot finish. So for those of you that haven't seen it, I encourage you to check that out. The Cena R-Truth match had a decent finish, worth checking out. Zelina Vega showed up to pretty up the show. I did not see Ruby, whatever her name is. Who's the girl from Australia? Ruby Riot, is that her? I don't know shit. The girl from Australia that everybody likes. I don't know. My medication is not kicking in today. It's been a long ass day. We've had banking issues. Banking issues have sucked. Well, I thought I was going to have some help tonight, but I guess I was wrong. Yeah, Rhea Ripley. There we go. Rhea Ripley. Thought I was going to have some help, but I guess I don't. So much for that. Let's see here. So pretty much whatever y'all want to talk about. This is a special bonus edition, the holiday edition. I know Bob was away at a 3-day convention, some board game convention there in the Dallas area. He was doing that, mentioned that he was very tired. So But I thought he might drop in tonight, but I guess I was wrong. But yeah, the Saturday night main event was definitely worth checking out, especially a couple of three things there were. And we'll get it all figured out here eventually. So yeah, let's just I had to miss. Well, you didn't have to miss it. It's a choice you made, Billy. I could have missed it, but I elected to watch it tonight. Didn't have to miss it. We all have choices to make. I also watched finally the rest of Monday Night Raw tonight. I'd only seen about half of it getting into tonight to tell you just how goddamn important that was. And so to pause Saturday night main event and let the commercial time catch up, and they take a lot of commercials on Saturday night main event, I went ahead and watched the rest of Raw. And then when I finished with Raw, I went back to Saturday night main event. So I'm all caught up on Raw. They still put Sheamus on that show for some reason. But I got confused as I was watching Raw. I thought I was watching Saturday night main event. And I said, wait a minute. They're putting Sheamus against that Australian asshole, Jordan Parks. Is that his name? Jason Waller. That's his name. I'll get it all figured out eventually. Yeah. They
Grayson Waller is his name. Not Jason.
Not Jason. No, in honor of the co-host of this show.
Yeah.
Jason, that might catch on.
It's probably a better name than Grayson Waller.
I don't know.
Who names their kid Grayson?
When they brought him out, I'm going, well, this is going to suck. And then they brought out Grayson Waller. I said, well, now it's guaranteed going to suck.
Well, at least they didn't bring out Austin. I probably brought Austin.
No, they did. No, they did. He's involved in the finish.
Yeah.
So just to make it, I'm assuming you saw it, or did you?
I did not. I did not watch any Raw, any SmackDown.
Okay. What's his name again? Austin Lack of Theory.
Yeah.
I have to admit, the part that involved him was kind of snickery. So, if you happen to have it, and like I said, I do have a long history in pro wrestling. I was the trainer of the bad guys for the better part of 10 years. So I feel an obligation for this show that you have to watch it. But it is amazing how many people in here seem to not even give a shit. Billy Sellers, a bored man, a man who will be watching is NASCAR tomorrow. That's probably tomorrow, isn't it?
There was some NASCAR probably tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
My driver won today.
It's tomorrow. Yes, it's because we have the Pacers. Yeah, we got the Pacers at home in the nighttime. I don't know what's going to have higher viewership, the racist Red Rally, or the Indiana Pacer. Name of the Pacers after the race car. Basketball game. But boy, you want to talk about an exciting game 2, an exciting game 1. Holy shit. The Pacers, I think, were down. Fuck, if it wasn't 17, it was 22. I also watched. We don't see him on here much anymore. Old John Paul. I actually watched a full quarter of women's basketball today. That's how bored it was around here.
Oh my gosh!
I watched the Lady Fever. Well, there's only one Fever. They only have the ladies. I watched the Fever play the New York Liberty Bells, whatever they are. I can't remember.
I think it's just the Liberty, yeah.
So the Liberty Bells. The Liberty Bells would be better, really.
If they were in Philadelphia, it'd be good. Not in New York.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Honestly, to God, who cares?
That much about women's basketball is surprising.
It's just the fact that I know that much.
Yeah.
And there's a little white girl on the Fever, and everybody. No, not Caitlin. I know little Caitlin, but there's a little white girl on there that's got blonde hair and a ponytail. She's a pretty good 3-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Cunningham, I think Cunningham's her name. She could shoot the 3 pretty good. And they got another little white girl on there with a blonde ponytail, and she had a shorter name. I don't recall what it is, but she could shoot the 3 pretty good. Well, you didn't get it fixed. So what did you do? Unplug it, Billy? Did you unplug your bank account so you could get $3 in it to get a membership? We're supposed to, membership has its privileges, and you don't have any. My name's Sugar Bear, and you don't have any. That's what he used to say about Sugar Crisp. Can't get enough Super Sugar Crisp. My name's Sugar Bear, and you can't have any. Well,
Hey, boo boo. That's not the right bear.
That's not the right bear. It's a different bear. It's a different bear. So I'm assuming Billy unplugged his computer, plugged it back in. It's probably working perfectly now, is my guess. That's my guess. Let's see here. Who saw the Pacer game? Holy shit. And it's Halliburton. Matter of fact, Halliburton is now in the WWE 2K4 X89. I don't know, whatever they call those things. Bob would probably know. You probably have that WWE game, don't you?
I didn't buy this year's game. I bought the 24 and just never played it enough to make it worth buying again next year. This last
I told you what Billy did to fix his computer.
Well, you know,
he
that's
unplugged it again.
Step, right? It's like, did you reboot it? Okay, great.
Yeah, well, that's always a good start in the right direction. That's what I have to do with my NVIDIA Shield from time to time.
Yeah.
If it don't work, unplug the goddamn thing or hit reboot, and then there you go. It probably starts working again. So that's one way to fix it, and it doesn't cost much money to do it that way either. Yeah, I didn't know what we would have in here. Are we going head to head with anything tonight? SmackDown's over. I don't think there's any hoop on tonight. Is there?
I think there's some basketball tonight, but I don't.
I mean, it is late. It ain't Oklahoma City playing tonight, is it?
I believe they are.
Are they playing tonight?
Right?
Well, they're already up 2-0, right? Yeah, they're up 2-0.
Yeah, Oklahoma is a team I just hate.
Damn, boy. I mean, I'm rooting for the Pacers, but that ain't gonna be an easy one. But then again, if you can beat the number one Cleveland, and if you can just go into Madison Square Garden to where they don't lose very often and rough them up a little bit, then I guess anything's possible. But the way it is if Halliburton and the guy that scored 39 last night, I can't think of his name. They got a few guys on that Pacer team that can shoot. It ain't only Halliburton. But Halliburton's come a long way, and he's a real good friend of McAfee's. He appeared on the McAfee show the other day. Conrad and Bischoff are doing a live reaction for after the show tonight as well.
Oh, boy.
No. Is Conrad capable of making a reaction face? No offense, Conrad. Well, there'll be no reaction faces here. I saw the thing. If you want to watch it, I guess there's ways. YouTube, I'm sure, will have clips. But the finish was pretty hot. A finish I actually was not expecting for the main event.
For the main, I did not. So I watched I caught the main event, and then I went back and rewatched the John Cena match based on your recommendation.
Yeah.
So,
well, for the finish of it.
Yeah, it was a good finish.
And there were some people that were gotten. There were some people.
Yeah.
That were
I don't know why. It's way too
well, it would have been a big waste of time.
Yeah, I mean,
for what they've been doing. I mean, you had to know something was coming, but apparently a lot of people were gotten according to the intro net. How's y'all's holiday? I don't know. You won't answer why you won't buy a badge for $3. So that's part of it. Why don't you do that? Oh, apparently the breaking news of the night, Herb Simmons got no autographs.
Oh, yeah.
None.
That sucks because
wrestlers
suck as a whole. Let's just say that. Right?
Well, Billy said the other day, I'm very disappointed in the Rock and Roll Express. I tried to defend them. I said, well, don't be disappointed. Because Herb said there were tornadoes in the area and everybody was concerned about their safety and kind of getting in and out as quickly.
So bad
flights were missed.
Kevin's flights got canceled.
Yeah, Kevin's flight got canceled. But then again, there were a lot of people there, and nobody would do any autographs for Herb.
I mean, the guy putting the show on, you're gonna think, "Hey, dude, give me an autograph."
I think he could sign him 2 or 3 autographs if he wanted some.
Maybe he told.
I don't know if people just out now.
Here's what.
From what I understand, people that were working in coordinates with Herb. From what I gathered, kind of dropped the ball at getting anything done. I mean, Herb, I don't think was going around himself asking him to do it.
Right.
He had people helping him. And
here's what I think happened. I think they went up and they go, "Hey, Herb would like to get an photograph."
Yeah.
Oh, that's
cool.
For
who?
Cool. What are you going to do with it? Oh, it's for Kenny Bolin.
For Kenny Bolin. And then they just left the building and canceled.
Yeah, and they go, not going to do it.
Well, there is a good possibility that could be part of the reason.
So, Kenny, I told you off the air, but I was very almost tempted to go next week in Dallas is the Dallas Fan Expo. one of them big like Comic-Con type things.
Now, did you physically appear? Because I was having trouble understanding. Did you physically appear at this 3-day thing this weekend, or is it a
No, it was
Zoom in virtual
No,
thing?
I was there, and
You were there.
runs through Monday, but I'm just exhausted. I don't think I'll go tomorrow. I may go back on Monday, depending. But
Yeah.
I'm
Well, what's the admission for this event?
This was $90 for the 5 days.
Okay. All right.
Well, for the 5
Not a lot. Not a lot you can do for 5 days and $90 these days.
Yeah.
Comes with an all-you-can-eat buffet each day, twice a day.
Almost that much. Yeah.
Because if it does, then it's worth it.
It comes with like an all-you-can-eat buffet that you extra pay for. Anyway, I've been at a board game convention, but next week in Dallas is a kind of a Comic-Con thing called Fan Expo Dallas. They're featuring John Cena. And I thought, I've got a Bowling Services t-shirt.
You do.
It would be really cool to head down there and wear my Bowling Services t-shirt just to see John
and make him sign it.
And make him sign it. So I said, how much is this thing? $67 for a single day pass. That's a little pricey,
Well, but then again, if you're getting to meet John Cena in person, for the average fan, that's probably reasonable.
And I said, well, how much is it for like a photo op? $180 for a photo op. $150 for an autograph.
The man makes $40 million a year.
Well, no wonder he makes $40 million a year at $150 per autograph.
Apparently, he only makes $80 a week in movies, is what I'm trying to figure.
Holy crap.
I mean, if you're making $40 million a year, do you have to charge your fans $150, $180? And then more than that, if you sign a belt or something big.
Yeah, it was like even more expensive, $200 if you wanted to get a belt signed. So if you wanted a picture and an autograph, that's like $307 or $20.
Well, we'll have you finish your story in a second. Before this will lead into the news that I have. I reached out to somebody because of the debacle that happened in St. Louis, and we have been able, or will obtain in the very, very near future, 2 more of those John Cena pictures that are signed by both John and John Sr. and Tony Atlas. We're going to get 2 more of them to try to take some of the sting out of what happened in St. Louis. Now, he says, Herb says some people have rescheduled. I don't know how you reschedule for an event that's coming next year. So I don't know exactly what he means by that, but I'll renew my membership when I get paid. So you don't have $3 now? At least he answered the question.
At least, yeah.
I mean, we're running our money a little tight if we're going mid-month and we ain't got $3. We need to make some adjustments.
Yeah, budgeting might be a thing you might want to study for a while.
But budgeting. We need to look at budgeting. Say that to my Filipino friends. Jambi, hopefully we'll get some donations tonight. I know who it ain't going to be coming from. But hopefully we'll get some donations tonight because Jambi she did give 3 of her puppies away to the next door neighbors. Mm-hmm. So instead of 7, she now has 4. Step in the right direction. I think she gave 3 of the girls away. And I just paid to get those dogs vaccinated and dewormed.
Right.
I'm almost wishing I hadn't done that.
Right.
But it's only fair to pass them off to the next people in good shape, protected. I don't have to worry about them going to the neighbors and then getting sick and dying, because then I'd feel like shit if that happened. So, no, I don't feel sorry. I'm sorry, Kenny. No, you don't. You really don't have $3?
He doesn't budget, apparently.
Oh, well, we got to work on that, Billy. Got to work on that. Budgeting. I've been budgeting since I sound like a Macklemore song. I've been budgeting since I was 14. If you listen to the Macklemore song, you'll know why that.
I mean, and I realize, Billy, you're on the fixed income, right?
As am I.
Not a lot. So, but
Billy gets more than I get.
And I'm not being critical here. This is actually hopefully good, honest advice. When you get your check, take say you want to save $40 a week for
whatever
expenses and fun or whatever, right? So take that 120, take that $160 for the month and put it aside and forget that it's there. And then take $40 of it out the second week. Take $40 of it out the third week. And then you aren't, and you need to just put it to where you like forget it's even there, right? Don't like store it in a sock box or
So
something.
y'all know about putting money aside and forgetting about it. When I first invested in AMC several years ago, feels like forever ago now.
Yeah, back
I
when it
had
was
put,
$3 a share.
I had set aside. Apparently, I didn't know how much was in there because I would add to it from time to time, and I'd just go down to the safety deposit box and take whatever cash I'd saved from personal appearances or autograph sessions or whatever, gimmick table, and I'd go down with $300, $400, $500, $1,000 sometimes, just put it in my safety deposit box. Didn't have it in a savings account. I had it in a safety deposit box, and I kept adding money to it. And in my head, I thought that over a period of time, I'd saved up about $13,000 or $14,000. So Christopher starts talking to me about this AMC investment thing, and it's at $2.02 a share. We got a feeling it's going to go to $8 a share, and if it does, shit's going to hit the fan. And so he gave me good advice. I had ignored his crypto advice, and if I had accepted his crypto advice, I'd be worth, according to him right now, $22 million. Had I invested what he had asked me to invest back then, and I didn't do it. So I go down to the bank and open my safety deposit box, thinking I got roughly $14,000 in there. So I sit back there in a private room and I'm counting out my money. And before you know it, I've got about $23,000. Wow. So it was almost $10,000 because I've been adding to it for years and not really counting it. I was just putting it in there and trying to keep track in my head. So that's how far off I was, is that instead of about 13,000, I had close to 23. And so then I kept 3,000 of that as emergency money, and I put 20,000 of it in an account for AMC for him and in an account for me. And that and
worth
$500. But that money had been in there since 2012.
Yeah.
And I just forgot. I didn't even think about that money. Well, Dad, you got that safety deposit money. Well, fuck yeah, I guess I do. I hadn't even thought about it because it's basically set there for when I died. Right. Christopher would have somewhat of a nest egg in the bank because he knew about it. You know, he's the one that had the key to it. And but I just forgot it was there. So if I can forget that I had 23 grand, I think you can set aside 160 and just, you know, that's emergency money and just do that.
That's not a bad idea, Billy, as long as you know that your mom's not going to spend it on bingo like Kenny's mom would.
My mother would have spent it on bingo and tell me how up she was.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea. I mean, if you're not to where you can trust yourself with however much money you got in your account, set it aside, let someone else manage it for you, and then get a little bit each week. And you know, it's way better to have a little bit at a time than, because I mean, my wife, when she worked for Texas Tech University, they got paid once a month, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh shit!
They absolutely had to learn.
I hate those jobs.
Budget for the full month, because
I get paid every week now, but I don't even like those every 2-week jobs that a lot of people have.
By the time the 25th, 26th comes around, you are so freaking broke and just dying waiting for the 31st.
Yeah. Well, I always treated myself like I was broke. No matter how much money I had, I just treated myself like, well, you got such and such in the bank. No, I don't. So you have to treat yourself. I wonder if Trump has got any stroke over there with his good friends in Saudi Arabia that he could send the world's most beautiful Filipino over here to America and bring smiles to the faces of Americans all over the world, being as he's trying to make America great again.
Or at least to Kenny.
No, you'd fight me over her. You wouldn't fight me for $1 million, but you'd fight me over her. I know you would. I trust her. Well,
Mom.
I got a picture of my mother in my bed.
Kenny mom. That's
now my mom might have gave me 100 to save for her, but me giving my mom 100. There was one of us that died with money in the bank, and it wasn't her. One of us will die with money in the bank. Now she did have $2,000 in the bank. That was only because she was in a nursing home. And then my sister stole that.
Nice.
Went down the day she died and took her money out of her bank account and the TV that I bought my mother. She was grieving hard, man. She was
and then she wanted you to pay for the funeral.
Then wanted me to pay for the funeral.
Nice.
He does have a badge. So let's see. A guy I worked with knew he was terrible with money, so he gave his entire check to his wife, and she would give him back 20 a day. There's a lot of men like that. There's a lot of men who cannot manage their money. And in a lot of cases, the wives can manage money, and they're the ones that do so. We have one donation. Oh, well, look at this shit. I wasn't looking for this. This guy's on vacation.
Nice.
This guy's out in Vegas. And he's got the ball. He's got the ball rolling for us, and Mr. Michigan Mike. And I have an announcement to make about Michigan Mike. I might have announced it on the last show, but if not, I'm going to announce it on this one. Michigan Mike is traveling down here to Louisville, Kentucky to see me, sort of. He's on his way to Nashville. He's going down there for an air show, and he's got a friend who's going to be traveling with him. So he calls me the other day, and he says, Kenny, instead of you mailing me my book here in early June, would you mind if I pick it up from you?
July,
I said, well, if you're going to, I might have mailed it in June. You don't know that I wasn't.
No, I'm just...
Depends if I had those whoopie pies or not for Mr. Cena.
Exactly. That's what I meant. You were saying.
I said, well, when are you going to be here? And he says, June the 6th. I said, why are you going to be in Louisville on June the 6th? I thought maybe there was something going on down here. And I know he's a big air show guy, and we had to cancel the air show this year due to the flooding. And he says, I planned that trip down to Louisville twice. Once I had to cancel due to my father getting sick. And then they canceled me this year because of the flooding. I said, yep, I think it's only the second time in the history of the thing that has been canceled. I said, I've gone to a lot of them. I'm not even an air show guy. I go down there for Thunder Over Louisville. And the air show is the daytime event. And then Thunder Over Louisville is the nighttime event. And I'd watch them from the top of the Humana building. So, but he's coming down here June the 6th on his way to Nashville to go to an air show there. So Michigan Mike's going to come by my home, hang out for a little bit, pick up his Scaramucci book.
Nice.
Maybe some whoopie pies if I have some by then. And then we're going over to Mark's feed store to have us dinner, me, my son, Michigan Mike, and his friend.
So good. I mean, those whoopie pies are...
They're good. They're good. Now, they're almost
I will tell you this, though. You know, I froze some of them, and then with thaw them out and have them, they are way better fresh than they are frozen. So...
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about that. He says they have a life of about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
If you don't refrigerate them.
Yeah. And even if you...
I never froze mine. I just refrigerated mine, and I got about 6 weeks out of them.
Yeah. So I froze some of mine, and they're really good still, but they are way better fresh. Oh, my gosh. So get those whoopie pies, get that blood sugar medicine, and make sure that you stuff your face with them, and put Kenny in your will first.
Do that. Now, George Kafter mentioned that he was going to be making a donation tonight, but he is involved in some watch-along of SmackDown tonight. I don't know if he's over here watching the show live or not.
George in quite a while.
But if he can come close to matching what Michigan Mike did, that'll be a big step in the right direction to help. And I need Venmo donations for anybody out there that's got Venmo. Because that's the only way I can send money right now until I get my Fidelity account back, which got hacked and got $335 stolen out of it by something called Cincinnati Bill Pay. They looked it up. They said, well, they bill people for water bills. They said, well, here's a number on them, Kenny. And this is straight from Fidelity, my bank. So I call them. So I get my iPhone and call them while they're on my Google phone. And I call them. And 4 phone calls did not work, showing that they were fucking not real. Well, no, one of them said, if this is an emergency, call 911. The next one said, if this is a local emergency, call 311. And then the next one just kept ringing and no one ever picked up. And then the next one picked up and hung up.
Nice.
So I said, well, does that tell you how real this fucking shit is? And so I'm in the process of switching bank accounts. So all my money's frozen in one account to get ready to go to another account. And hopefully they said under the, because I spoke to the fraud department and they heard all this shit going down. And they said, no, Kenny, I'm pretty sure we're going to get your money back. It just takes a little time. So I said, well, my money's in your account to protect me, not to enable fucking people to steal my goddamn money. So it got a little verbally there for a while, but
thanks guys for letting people steal my money.
Well, somehow somebody got my routing and account number. And no one's ever done it before Cincinnati Bill Pay. So if you check your account, you see Cincinnati Bill Pay, be skeptical. They got me for $284 on one transaction and $54 on another.
Why don't you have any water bills in Cincinnati?
Well, Being as I've never lived in Cincinnati, currently don't know anybody in Cincinnati. Pete Rose is dead. I wouldn't have been paying his water bill. No. I have not paid a water. I don't know if I've ever paid a water bill. But not since the year 2000.
I mean, it usually comes with the rent, right? When you're paying.
Well, they never charged it for us. We are told that our rent is $35 higher because that's what they charge us for water.
Right.
Yeah, that's what they charge us for water. It's $35, which, from what I've talked to some people, is a hell of a deal. But yeah, we are told our rent is $35 higher because that's what they adjust for water. But no, we've never actually paid a water bill. And they didn't even jack us up $35 till about 3 years ago. And I've been here. This is my 8th year here. So didn't make my day. So far, we just have the one donation in from Michigan Mike, of all people, who's on vacation. So we appreciate
Michigan Mike, as always. You've come through for us.
And George Capter mentioned that he was going to be making a donation. He said soon, but let me check his my iPhone just took an update. Hope it doesn't take forever to load me my shit. And let me see if I can reach George. And if he can match. Not just okay. Well, if you're appearing on someone's podcast, then you've made the big time. We're doing my show now, and we're trying to raise money to feed Jambi's dogs and get rice for her family. So whenever you're able to make your donation, let me know. Michigan Mike just did a $35 challenge, and we appreciate anything you can do to help us. And thank you very much. Because so far, he's the only donation.
For George Capter's big time in you. Nice.
He big time. He's appearing on someone else's podcast.
Well, we'll never invite you to come on our podcast again, George, since you stiffen us. That's just a joke, George. You can if you want to come on our podcast, you're welcome.
Yeah, George used to watch and comment all the time, and he said something about his job keeps him from seeing the shows live quite often, but he says he normally catches the recorded versions. And so what do we got here? So it is a holiday weekend. So you say the Minnesota game is playing tonight?
It is on right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just catch the key plays when it's over and do like I always do, watch the last 5 minutes of the fourth. But, of course, with the Fever today, I watched the entire fourth. The reason I watched the entire fourth quarter is that Caitlin Clark hadn't done jack shit the whole game. I mean, hadn't done shit. Even on the key plays, you're not seeing Caitlin Clark in the plays. It's the two white girls and one black girl who was doing real good on the team, but I forgot her name. So at the end of the third, Caitlin Clark hits a long three to get the Fever back in it because they're down like 17, 18 points. So she hits a three to get them close, and then a few more buckets happen. And then there's 4 seconds to go. Well, do you think they should just throw it in and just hold it? No, there's time for 4 or 5 dribbles. Try and get up a shot. So they throw it in. Caitlin Clark takes 5 dribbles, launches a 32-footer, nothing but net. So the crowd's going crazy. The Fever are back in the game. And so I watched it from that point. And I just watched the whole fourth quarter because I heard that there was a skirmish involving her in a game earlier this week, but I couldn't find any highlights of it.
Yeah, she actually – so one of the other girls had pushed one of Caitlin's teammates. It should have been a foul because she pushed her out of the way to get
the
a
game
rebound.
Today got a little rough. There's some rough play today.
Yeah, I think they've hired WWE referees to referee the WNBA because they get away with a lot of really
one second, Bob. Billy, the only one in the world that knows if the Durham Bulls won today would be you. But go ahead. Not to shit on the Durham Bulls.
Not to shit on the Durham Bulls, but
I think I just did.
Well, it happens occasionally.
So somebody pushed Caitlin's teammate. Caitlin came to their defense.
Yeah, Caitlin.
Well, that's what a good player does. Yeah.
Yeah, and Caitlin's been like last year. I remember it was like
they knock the fuck out of her all the time.
Yeah. So she shoved the other girl and just walked off, right? And so they were all like, "Oh, you're pushing me. I'm like, you just got done pushing some other chick, dude. What is
Yeah,
wrong
you
with
just did the same thing, right?
Yeah, but what do people care, right? It's just a game.
It's just a game, but they said the WNBA wasn't really doing jack shit till Caitlyn come along. I'm not sure about the fascination of this thin, very, very pale white girl. Because and I get people being irked about it because there's a lot of great black players that were there.
I mean, she led Iowa State to the NCAA title, right? And so that kind of.
But the girl at LSU did a pretty good job too. What's her name? Brittany
Britney Spears.
The one with the big eyelashes.
I don't. Caitlin Clark is the only one I know, and the only one I know because.
Well, the one she has the big feud with is the girl that played for LSU,
or something like that.
Something like that. The one with the big eyelashes.
Yeah.
My complaint is play like you're playing basketball. Quit trying to be pretty. Caitlin ain't trying to be pretty. Caitlin pulls her hair back, goes out there and gets the job done. Ain't got no big eyelashes on and makeup out the fucking gores. Angel Reese, there you go. I had the wrong person. Narn Anderson, wherever the fuck he's from, knows of Angel Reese, and he's not of this country. Shame on you, Narn Anderson. I bet you Chris Schmidt would know who Angel Reese is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Angel's got those great big eyelashes, and I would think that would hamper with your play of the game. I'm sick of baseball players with all the fucking jewelry. I'm sick of baseball players with the long ass fucking hair and the big ass thick beards. It is a hot fucking game. Most years, not so much this year. Mm. We're in the 60s and 70s here for the next 10 days. Thunderstorms tomorrow with a high of 67. Near June in Louisville, which is unheard of. Normally by May the 1st, we're locked into the 80s. Few 90s, to be honest with you. But no. We had lows around here in the suburban areas in the 30s last night and the night before. Right here at my house, it was 47. Get a little further out, but I'm very, very close to the city. Lots of concrete and asphalt. Get further out into the country where there ain't none of that stuff. They had lows of 37 was the lowest I saw up around Seymour, Indiana, which ain't that far from here.
It's 87 here right now.
I'm in Washington, originally from, Narn, for some reason, I thought you were from another country. I don't know.
I thought he was from Carolina, which is actually another country.
No, Narn Anderson is actually from Rome, Georgia. That's where Narn Anderson is from.
Right.
Forsyth County, Georgia. Okay, all right. That might be why he goes by Narn Anderson, is that he's a big Arn Anderson fan from Rome, Georgia.
It could be. It's pretty good reason to go by that name.
Never know. Is anybody else going to donate and help us out tonight, or are we just...
Or at least communicate somewhere in the...
Because right now we only have one donation. Well, wait a minute. We just had something come through here. We got
so I think we kind of covered this a little in a previous show, Narn, but since you are...
hang on. George Captor has matched the $35 challenge of Michigan Mike. Thank you, George Captor. We appreciate it. So we've made 70. So I'll be here for the hour, being as we made the 70. But we could use a couple more of those $35 donations if they're out there. Haven't heard from Good Chris in a while.
Have you heard from Bad Chris in a while?
Not from a donation standpoint.
I haven't heard from him at all.
Hasn't donated a penny since I forgave him for basically trying to ruin my life.
Well, you know.
If you remember, I called his boss on him, and he wanted a peace offering. And the boss was disappointed. He said, well, he must be living a second life. I said, no, this is the life he lives.
It's the real life.
He is a troll. And so then I sent some screenshots from that show, and this ain't good. I said, no, it's not, because he had denied doing any of it. Then we had audio recordings that he didn't know we had, but has not made one penny in donation since I forgave him. When he wrote me, well, we didn't mean any harm. We were just joshing around. Oh, okay. All right. Then I called off the dogs and let them keep their show with 2 strikes instead of giving them that third. But I got another $80 if I need it. Well, I will have. So So we got $70 in the house. About 30 of that needs to go towards Jambi to help them with rice and food. Let's see. Eunice's mother needs transportation because she's gone 6 weeks without a paycheck, or it will be 6 weeks and 6 days. They are looking to give her a promotion to where she can work from home and doesn't have to spend transportation and food money anymore. And it's about an 8,000 peso a month raise. But when they haven't paid you for 6 weeks, I don't know how overly excited I am about whether she's gonna. We'll see. They claim she's going to get all the money they owe her in 6 days. I guess
We'll see, believe it.
5 days officially now for them. So we can hope. We can hope. But she needs about 1,000 pesos for transportation and food money for the next week until she supposedly, if she don't get her paycheck, I told her, if they gone 6 weeks without paying you and the 30th comes, you got to quit and find something else and sue them and hope somebody will help you, because that's really about all you can do. So, unfortunately, from what I can tell, those are the only two donations we got so far. Jazzy Jana donated 39 in honor of her birthday the other night, so can't ask her to do any more. Got some people on here I could ask, but they're probably not watching the show. And like I said, it is the holiday weekend. There are some people that are probably busy doing some other shit. Jason will be back here Thursday to meet the guy that trained him. They have not had any interaction since since
Jason flunked out of wrestling school.
Yeah, since he flunked out of wrestling school 11, 12 years ago. So that should be interesting. Narn, you good for a donation tonight? Sometimes I like to humor myself. Just for the fuck out of it.
Good one, Kenny. Good joke.
Way to rib. But about like that NASCAR joke the other day.
We'll get back to the Pete Rose thing that we talked about, I know, a little bit on the show a couple of weeks ago, or right after it happened, right? That it honestly, it sucks. I mean, it's great that he will potentially make the Hall of Fame. I thought it was a bullshit move to wait until he passed away.
Yeah, and then of course open the door up for all the other dead ball players, including Shoeless Joe Jackson, who ironically was involved in throwing the World Series against the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, well, that's the allegations anyway. Shoeless Joe was not a very literate man, so in fact he couldn't read, right? So when he signed this confession, he didn't know what he was signing.
Yeah.
So now, was he guilty? He hit like 367.
Well, that's why in some instances when you hear somebody say put your X there, for those that were extremely illiterate, that's all they knew how to do. They put their X because they didn't know how to write their name.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
Timmy John.
Timmy
John.
Yeah. And his Mexican dad.
His Mexican dad could sign his name, just Timmy John couldn't.
Yeah. You think that he could at least do a TJ or something.
You would think. It wouldn't be that hard.
But so
Henry County was not a good
people
school.
who were on the suspended list wouldn't get any Hall of Fame consideration anyway, right? So Jackson and Rose really are the only two that potentially could benefit from this. I do think that it's a crap chicken shit way to treat things, because they just wanted to deny that to him until he was dead, right? Is that sorry?
Bartlett Giamatti had it in for Pete from day one, and I remember I was at. Funny, we were talking about Thunder over Louisville in the air show, because I was at Cardinal Stadium, the old one, for Thunder over Louisville and a baseball game with the Louisville Bats. And then we stayed after the game because that was the first ever Thunder over Louisville. And the best place to watch it from was from the Louisville Bats baseball game. They didn't have it there no more because fireworks were falling on the roofs of houses in the South End, causing fires. So we couldn't have Thunder over Louisville at the ballpark no more. That got canceled. But during that game, they let the fans come down on the field. They had an AstroTurf field then. It was the only time that I'd ever actually been on AstroTurf. I remember Tony Perez touched the AstroTurf at Riverfront Stadium. I was there for one of the first games ever in Riverfront when I was, 10 or 11. It was June the 5th, 1970, I think. So I guess that's 10. Whenever Riverfront Stadium opened and the Reds were playing the Cardinals, and my school teacher got me front row seats with her husband and her two kids behind third base. So the closest I'd ever come to AstroTurf then is that Tony Perez was playing third base then. Pete Rose injured himself the night before, burning his arm on the AstroTurf, diving in left field for a ball. Well, there's something. And so Pete didn't start that game. He pinch hit in the ninth inning. But Tony Perez, as they were doing warm-ups, touched the AstroTurf, come over and shook my hand, and he went, hot. And he was showing me how hot the AstroTurf was. Yeah. And I do remember Kurt Gowdy was calling that game that day. It was a Saturday game of the week. And I could hear Kurt Gowdy over the speakers that they would play in between innings, talking about Reds and Cardinals players were putting their feet in ice buckets to cool down from standing on the AstroTurf.
That is insane that
because if you remember, they changed the AstroTurf where it didn't retain heat that much, when it looked a little bit more like grass, but it was still synthetic. Right. And but they said the field temperature was 144 degrees.
Crazy.
That day. And Tony Perez, I remember him touching third. So I get to go down on the AstroTurf that night, and we didn't have the good shit. That was the old nasty AstroTurf on top of concrete or pavement or whatever they put it on. Yeah. And while I was down on the field, up on the big scoreboard, they posted Abe Bartlett Giamatti had passed away. Well, the Louisville is a AAA team to the Cincinnati Reds. About 19,000 people roared.
Cheered.
And it might have been more than that because of Thunder over Louisville, cheering the death of Abe Bartlett Giamatti, and I was one of the ones that was going, fuck you, you
Very
bitch.
Nice.
Yeah, so I don't cheer for a lot of death, but that one I was behind. And nobody liked Abe Bartlett Giamatti, but I did think with a new commissioner, I wanted Pete to be rewarded. And I've always said he's in the Hall of Fame anyway, because all of his records are in there.
Sure.
But I wanted him to separate what he did as a manager as to what he did as a player. And if you want to penalize him, and I do get the defense, and I'm the biggest Pete Rose fan that ever was. I've got a couple of his autographed action figures here that he signed for me when he let me appear on the Paul Hornung Sports Showcase with him back in the late 90s. I got to meet Pete Jr. that night for the first time. He hadn't even made it to the Reds yet. He was still a pretty young kid at that time. Mm-hmm. And no bigger fan of Pete Rose than me. But he didn't bet against the Reds. And the people against Pete go, yeah, he did. Every night that he did not bet on the Reds to win, he was betting on them to lose. And I get that.
Right.
Oh, Pete ain't betting on the Reds tonight? All right. Bet against them. Not even Pete thinks they're going to win, or he'd be betting on them. I get that, and it makes sense. And that's why I say you always got to try to put the shoe on the other foot, understand where the other person's coming from. Right. And that adds up. If Pete ain't betting on the Reds, he doesn't have enough confidence.
He's not confident.
Because if he thinks they're winning, he's betting on them.
Right. Well, and especially as the manager, Pete could decide,
do I bring the spread, of course.
Right. Do I bring in my closer tonight or rest him while, you know what?
Bring in Mario Soto or Clay Carroll,
rest the closer.
Pedro Bone.
Yeah. So your story did remind me of a story I heard about Cal Ripken when he was chasing the Iron Man record.
Yeah.
Cal Jr.
2,000-something games, wasn't it? What was that record?
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, Google. What was Cal Ripken's Iron Man record?
2,632 consecutive games.
A lot of games.
On the website, Facebook.com.
Hey, Google. Stop.
At one point, he was, short of the record. And
2,632 for everybody there listening. Games in a row. You can't get people to go a whole season anymore.
Yeah. You think about that. It's a 162 game season, right?
Uh-huh.
That is like 15
seasons in a row.
What is 2,650 divided by 162?
2,650 divided by 162 is approximately 16.358.
So that's 16 plus years of never missing a game.
Into his 17th season without missing a game.
Yeah. So at one point, he actually had not started a game, and the manager had planned to put him in as a pinch hitter to keep the streak alive.
Mm-hmm.
And he did, and then it started raining. Now, it was already at a point where the game was legal, but he thought the manager...
So beyond 5 innings.
He said, I'm not doing this ever again. He's starting. I'm not ever taking a chance that a game will go. I'm going to pinch
losing that streak,
Rain comes in the 5th.
Right.
That ends the streak. That would
then we're screwed. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that story, but that would suck. That would have sucked if you were the guy that fucked that up. Do we know why he took off game 2,633?
He just decided it was time to end. It was just like, look,
well, it's like Pete Rose's hit record, and people say it'll never be broken. If you want to count Japanese records, and I brought this up on the show, 4,000. I think it was. Let's see, Pete's 42.56, so 43.30 something, 43.36 or something like that.
Ichiro.
And I asked Bob why that number special. Well, that's what Ichiro did, but that counts as Japanese hits.
Right. Yeah, there's certain records I don't think will ever be broken. Cy Young's 500 and something wins. The career will never come close to be broken. No. I don't think Nolan Ryan's 5,000 plus whatever.
Now, have they changed the way to get a win, or is that just back when they were pitching a shitload more innings?
Yeah, they just pitched forever, and they had rubber arms.
The reason the Nasty Boys were so badass is that the Red starters were going 6 innings,
right?
And then you had Rob Dibble, Norm Charlton,
right,
and Randy Myers. You never know exactly what order they were coming in, but that was your 3 reliever. It was normally Dibble the 9th, Myers the 8th, and Charlton the 7th.
Right.
And when the Nasty Boys, if needed, and when the Nasty Boys were coming in, you were not getting a hit off those 3.
Yeah.
And it was just, the Reds only have to win a 6-inning ball game, and they won a shitload of games back then.
Yeah, it wasn't unusual for those guys back in the late 1800s to start 75, 80 games a year. But they're throwing fastballs, and they're not throwing a lot of like sliders and pitches.
Bob, do you know what the most pitches thrown in a major league game is?
By a single player? I think it's like 182 or 183, something. It's pretty high.
Do you know who did it?
No, I do not.
I think it was Nolan Ryan, but let me double check on that. And I think it is in the 180s. Hey, Google, what pitcher threw the most pitches ever in a Major League Baseball game?
Holy crap.
On the website 7thinningstretch.quora.com, they say, I believe Tim Wakefield, who was a knuckleballer, has the official record for most pitches in a game, with 172 for the Pirates in 1993.
172.
But it's fairly common legend that in 1974 a coach used a handheld clicker to count Nolan Ryan throwing 235 pitches in a game in 1974, pitching for the Angels.
That's higher than I heard the other day. The other day I heard it was 180 something. They're saying 235 counted. So maybe the official count is 180 something. But somebody with a clicker counted Nolan Ryan in 1974 throwing 235 pitches, and he was a fastball pitcher.
Okay, so
but I can see a knuckleballer throwing a shitload of pitches.
Right. On May 1st, 1920, Brooklyn and Boston played to a 1-1 tie that lasted 26 innings. Incredibly,
he won every inning.
Incredibly, pitchers Leon Cadore and Joe Ostinger each went the distance. Historians, they weren't actually counting pitches back in those days.
Yeah.
But historians estimate that Cadore threw 345 pitches and Ostinger about 319.
Yeah.
In 1963, the Giants, Juan Marichal, and the Braves, Warren Spahn, each going the distance in a 16-inning game that ended on a Willie Mays homer. Marichal threw 227 pitches that night, and there was a point when his catcher told him, "Don't let them take you out. Win or lose, this is great."
What year was that?
1963.
63. How many pitches was that game?
227.
Okay, they're saying Ryan did 235, but I guess that would also be a clicker in the 60s if they had to use one in the 70s.
Right. I mean, they really didn't start tracking individual pitches.
They track it on the game now. Right. I was watching the Cubs and Reds today, and the pitcher in the first inning for the Cubs threw 37 pitches, gave up 2 runs, and in the game before, he went an inning and a third, and the Cubs ended up winning this game.
Right.
The Reds were up 6-2 in the 7th inning, but the starting pitcher went an inning and a third and threw 54 pitches in an inning and a third.
Wow.
Most pitchers these days. And the Red starter came out today. He came out after 74 pitches, And Hunter Green came out yesterday after like 81 pitches because he's back from injury.
Breaks 100 these days. It's a pretty major event.
Well, the Cubs pitcher today shocked the shit out of me through 111 pitches.
Yeah.
Through like 7 innings. I think he pitched 7 innings through 111, and that is almost unheard of. If you got a no-hitter going these days and you've thrown 102 pitches, they come and get you. Especially if you're in the 9th, they might let you go a few more pitches.
Right.
But if you're in the 7th inning, you got a no-hitter, you've thrown 102 pitches, they're coming to get you. You are not going to see the 8th and the 9th inning.
Yeah, they do care a lot more about long-term pitcher health than they used to.
Way more now than they did then. Well, nobody knew that throwing 325 pitches in the ball game was bad and going 26 innings.
Yeah, you know what? Just
those pitchers went to 52 innings of no-hit ball. Now I'm trying to think of the name of the pitcher, Joe Mullaney or something like that, threw back-to-back no-hitters for the Cincinnati Reds, and I think one of them was 10 innings of no-hit ball, 10 or 11. Joe Mullaney, somebody, if you say the name.
It was Johnny Vandermeer.
Johnny Vandermeer. Where the fuck did I get Joe Mullaney at? I know that name, Johnny Vandermeer.
Yeah.
Back-to-back no-hitters. And I don't know if anybody's ever come close to that before. At least the Reds have a good manager now. Well, yeah, but we've been losing to a lot of shitty teams lately.
So Johnny Vandermeer. So Cincinnati, this is interesting. Johnny Vandermeer was on the same team with the Cincinnati teammate Yul Blackwell. Blackwell threw a no-hitter against the Braves. In his next appearance against the Dodgers, he went 8 2/3.
8 2/3 no hit. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I knew about Yul Blackwell, but I didn't know he went 8 2/3 in the next game.
That's can you imagine?
Shit, 2 pitchers on the same team that throw back-to-back no hitters. He was out away.
Yeah,
fuck. That's unreal. That's a good story right there. And I didn't even know that.
That was 75 plus years ago. For that was actually
a long time ago.
Yeah,
a long time.
So
I did not see Yul Blackwell or Johnny Vandermeer pitch, but I heard plenty. Even as a 10-year-old, all you ever heard about was Johnny Vandermeer throwing the back-to-back no hitters. What year did he do that?
1930 something.
Was it in the 30s?
Johnny Van.
For some reason, I was thinking it was in the 40s or 50s.
It might have been 1938.
38. Okay, all right. Warren Spahn was a beast. Well, that's what they say.
That's what they say. They had that Spahn insane pray for rain because they had 2 pitchers and then the rest of the team sucked. So
yeah. The Reds have a good pitching staff this year, and we've lost a shitload of 1-run games.
God, the Rangers
two of the worst teams in baseball are the Pirates and the White Sox, and we lost 2 out of 3 to both. We sweep Cleveland. Should have beat the Cubs yesterday. The Reds have a 6-2 lead in the 7th. We don't lose many of those games, especially when your starting pitcher that day was Hunter Green. If Hunter Green's on the mound and you're in the 7th with a 6-2 lead, you win. Well, not yesterday. Cubs come back with 11 unanswered runs and beat us 13-6 after having a 6-2 lead. That was embarrassing. As the Cubs hit a lot of fucking homers too. Yeah. They got 4 guys with with 11 home runs or more. One of them's got 14 or 15.
Yeah,
a little skinny white fuck with 15 homers.
Rangers have 3 pitchers in the top 10 for ERA.
Yeah.
They just can't get a hit.
That is normally good enough to be playing playoff. And you guys are slightly under 500 right now, too.
A little bit above. I think 2 games above 500.
Are you 2 above?
Yeah.
We're 1 below right now. We were above 500 when we swept Cleveland. And then we play Pittsburgh and lose 2 out of 3. Play the White Sox, lose 2 out of 3. And
sorry, I was wrong. 3 games below 500 right now.
3 below. Yeah, I thought. Well, you haven't been watching the Rangers much. Now, did y'all win today? I don't know if
I haven't seen the scores yet.
I haven't seen the score. I think I was blown away by the Stars losing 3-0 last night after they scored like 19 goals in a minute and a half the other day.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna be out for just a minute. I'm gonna pop back in here in just a second.
Okay,
second.
Okay,
There we go. He got it all figured out. Let's see. Well, guys, it looks like 2 donations is going to be it unless somebody surprises me. We're going to take a look here.
Honey Rose says hello. She's watching the show tonight. And nope, that is it. 2 donations. $35 from Michigan Mike, $35 from George Captor. And that's it. So we are going to wrap this up. As soon as Bob gets back, we'll say goodnight. We did make 7. I have been here the full hour, so I honored my terms. I always say if we make $60 or more, I will stay to the end. Randy Macho Man Satterley came by today to see me and bought me some Taco Bell. I hadn't had Taco Bell, I guess, in about 3 years, even though they're 0.3 of a mile from me. But he was hungry, wanted to grab some lunch, so he come by and joined me for a little bit. We watched a little bit of college baseball and hung out with me here for a bit. He was on his way to Georgetown, Indiana to visit an old friend of his. So whenever he does that, he stops by to see me. So Randy Macho Man Satterley picked me up some Taco Bell. I offered to pay for it. He said, nope, consider it as a donation. So I guess we made $9 more tonight than I thought. He got the $9 box. From an economic standpoint, I don't recommend it. You get a burrito and 2 tacos. It's a lot of money. That's not much food for $9. So I ate 2 tacos here with Billy, and I had my burrito for dinner. I think Billy did the same thing. I'm sorry, Randy. Billy's watching the show, or he was. Billy's up late tonight. Eric Darcy, have a good night, King. Thanks for popping on for a while. Eric Darcy doesn't have a badge. My God, what the hell is going on, Eric? No donations out of Eric. Eric used to donate all the time. Eric, we could use some help. Eric's because I'm getting out of here, man. King's asking for donations. I'm out of here. Yeah, I was hoping we could get 4 people to match that so we could get rice and everything for her dogs and the other people that are needing some help. And we had to get Mayla Lee's electric bill paid today because her electric was officially cut off. So we paid that before the show started, and that was about $20-something. So we were really hoping we'd get a few of you to help us out. Eric, are you in position to do anything for us tonight? Be nice of you. Hadn't seen you in a long time. We'll discuss it with him. All right. Disco Inferno has just written me and says that he's going to discuss with Conan on when we're going to get them back on the show real soon. Looking forward to having Disco and or Conan on the show. We appreciate that.
Don't they still owe you an appearance on their show?
Probably do. Well, I need to put the full court because I haven't been on their show in a while, have I?
Yeah, it's been a bit.
Yeah. Vince Russo owes me 38 appearances.
Yeah.
I love you, brother Bowling.
I love you most.
I sent him a link to the show tonight. I said, hey, Vince, you're welcome to come on my show anytime you want. Being as you won't have me on yours, it's a shame when someone's political views get you banned from so many shows.
Maybe
he's you're welcome here.
Maybe Vince is afraid that if he comes on your show, that will destroy forever any chance he has of resolving his issues with Jimmy.
It could. It probably would.
That's probably the reason. Yeah.
It probably would stop all.
He still holds out hope that can be resolved.
Eric Darcy has let his badge expire. Eric Darcy, what am I going to do with you? And I even took the time to send you a link tonight. No badge, no donate. Well, you're welcome, though. You're welcome. Billy stayed up way past his bedtime, 11:07.
Thank you, Billy, for being here.
I don't even think that's Billy Seller. I think that's his mother on there. I think his mother hacked his account.
Taking his money out of the account. That's it. Mom puts the promise on here. I'm going to give some money to Mom. And then she goes, see, Billy, you said you were going to do it. I don't remember typing that, Mom. No, it's right here in black and white.
Venmo owes me $42 more because they let Google One take $42 out of my account over 2 months. Google One is a cloud storage place. Well, I pay for cloud storage on my iPhone. It's 99 cents a month. You all know me pretty well. Do you think I would pay $21 a month so I could store more fucking pictures? No. Number one, my Google 8 Pro, I'm not using half the storage that phone's got, probably about a third. My PC's got a shitload of fucking storage space on it. I don't need any storage space for that. But Google Pro somehow, Google One, excuse me, on Venmo, I don't have any reoccurring payments on Venmo. The only thing I use Venmo for is for people to donate money. And as Bob can tell you, because I might have to send Bob some PayPal money back so we can send some people some money through Venmo because I can't use Fidelity for a few more days. But yet, I know it's you, Billy. I'm just playing around.
Yeah, but if it was really your mom pretending to be you, wouldn't that?
She would
what
say
you would
it's
say?
me to keep
Yeah,
the facade going. To keep the facade going is what she would do. I love it when I say, "Is that real? Is that really you?" It's really me. Well, there we go.
Okay, well, there you go.
About like the guy that shot those people the other day. Came in and acted like he witnessed the murder. And then he starts acting all weird. And then he reaches into his backpack and admits that he's the one that did it. Or he wanted the glory. So weird shit. Weird shit. Are we ever going to figure out what the fascination is with certain people that want to kill Jewish people? And what is the reason for it other than their perceived wealth? That's the only thing I could think of. Because you remember we've had some on the show before.
Yes.
And we'll brag about their Teslas and shit like that. When a lot of us are just struggling around in a 2004 Volvo. We don't have brand spanking new electric cars. If I had one, I wouldn't brag about it. But and I saw that China has overtook Tesla in Europe as the #1 electric car, where Tesla was #1 not long ago. And now Tesla has fallen. I think their sales in Europe have dropped 49%, and China's electric version has risen like 170 something percent. Now putting the China version of the electric car, I forgot what it's called, but I'm not in the market for an electric car. I don't use enough gas to worry about an electric car.
Yeah.
For however many fucking thousands of dollars they cost. But well, people are mean, Billy. We'll agree on that. People are fucking mean. Like I said, I've got quite a few people that have wished me dead just for my opinions or who I've worked for. One of them, my former best friend. And Kenny, do you wish Tim Ash dead? No. Do you wish Jimmy Cornette dead? No. What about these 7 people in here that have wished you dead? No. Nothing to gain.
You wish a certain politician dead?
Yes.
Okay.
Just so we don't have to deal with this fucking idiot anymore. He won't go away. He won't quit under any other circumstances. So yes.
There you go, Pierre Trudeau.
I don't want to be the one to kill him.
No.
I don't want it to be my job. I don't know that I want anybody to kill him because then you martyr his fucking ass. I just want that last Big Mac to do its thing, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, Robert F. Kennedy was talking about all the foods that are horrible for you. And the Daily Show was showing a picture of Trump eating every one of these horrible foods that John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy was naming. Measles outbreak in Texas, thanks to good old Robert F. Here are a lot of people with the measles down there.
Yeah.
And I heard there's a few other states that are having outbreaks too.
It's because they came and visited us for our meeting.
Came and visited Texas. I've told people not to do that. I reader love my scooter. I think he's trying to say I'd rather have my scooter. Well, do you have a scooter too? I know you were looking to get a golf cart. Do you have a scooter? I guess he does. I don't know. Well, I begged and pleaded for those other donations. Eric Darcy, I'm pretty sure, blocked me for asking for a donation. No, we didn't get any more. Well, Bob, 2 donations was it, buddy.
But they were nice donations.
They were nice donations. They were nice. That was enough to keep us here for over an hour and 10 minutes. So if Good Chris is watching, I've appealed to Good Chris like 3 shows in a row. Maybe this is the one. We could use some help. Because like I said, we got 2 people that can eat this up in a heartbeat. So see what we can do. I got an insurance check coming in whenever
one person can eat that up in a heartbeat. So
what's that?
We've got more than one person that could easily
see. Oh, I just got 2 at the top of my head. Like, well, it's gone if we take care of those 2 people.
Yeah.
That'll do that. So at least some of it's in Venmo. Bob, I do think, just so we can get a few people taken care of, I think I'm going to send you back your $150 on PayPal. Then if you can send that to Venmo, I can always send it back to PayPal if needed. But if we're going to help Jen with her situation and the various other people that are needing it, Venmo is the only way I can send it. because I got two ways, Fidelity or Venmo. So I'll probably send that back to you here in just a little bit. And like I said, on that 20 that you covered on the, you covered some Mail Ali's electric bill.
Right.
So once I get access back to my Fidelity account, one day next week, I'm surely to God by the end of the week, I will have access to that back. I'll get you caught up on that as well. And like I said, I agreed to do 50 towards helping Jin. It looks like it might be more than that because to get everything that kid needs from glasses, her medical is going to be $50. New glasses for her are going to be about 50 to 60. If it turns out she needs them, and I know she does, she's needed glasses for 4 years and we didn't get them because it cost $60. Well, you can eat or you can get glasses. What do you want to do? Well, we'd like to eat. Okay, I get it. There's a reason I wear $2 glasses on my face. I couldn't afford the real shit.
Do you want electricity or do you want a bathroom?
Yeah. So I now have vision coverage. So one day, either next week or the week after, I'm going to get some good glasses for the first time in a long time. They won't be the $2 prescription type you get at the dollar store. And I've got an appointment in June to finally get dentures. I got $3,500 worth of coverage on dentures through Aetna now that I've turned 65. So that will be different. So one of these days, y'all going to see me smile and you're all going to go, God damn, he's Boyd Crowder from Justified. He had big white teeth that he got from the military. Now, that was the story he used to tell. So what do you do? The thank you list is short tonight. Thank you, George Captor, for your $35. Thank you, Michigan Mike, who's on vacation in Vegas and sent us $35. And then we'll see Michigan Mike down here June the 6th, not January the 6th. No riots down here. June the 6th, we're going to go have some dinner, and it'll be nice to finally meet Michigan Mike in person and give him his Anthony Scaramucci book. So until Tuesday night, the day after Memorial Day. That's Bob Hazelwood.
Memorial +1.
I'm +1. I'm the StarMaker, and the train will be rolling in here. We know Thursday for sure for the Jaden show. So until then, we did say a good day.